Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 106 of Miami Dolphins content. The boy Bleezy, the boy CT in the house with you. We got a lot of shit going on to talk about tonight's episode. Phins talk, football talk Friday nights. Mostert got his contract extension today. There's a lot going on. OTA and training camp dates were released. We're going to talk about the compensatory picks now that we've got a little bit more of a concise picture of how that's going to work. But yeah, for those of you guys watching over on Twitter and Twitch and all that other stuff, come on over to YouTube, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, waddle on that notification bell. As always, we're here at 8:30 every Monday night, but we do impromptu shows. We did one Wednesday, and we did one today. We're doing one tonight. So hit that notification bell every time we go live. What is going on, Luigi?
What's up, my brother? No, loving it, man. Loving that we're on Twitch. Twitch is loving us, man. Got a great response over there. So we're bringing them over. But yeah, man, we're rocking and rolling. We Miami Dolphins. I mean, CT, what do you think about what's going on right now? Do you think we're just sitting back waiting on the draft or what?
Absolutely. And we're going to get into it a little bit. Miami Dolphins right now have a little bit under $5 million in remaining cap space. And at this point, we're really waiting for June 1st to get that money from X. We may end up, you have the ability to restructure Tyreek if you would like to. Today, we restructured. Well, we didn't restructure. We actually extended Raheem Mostert for an additional 2 years for around $9 million.
2-year contract.
2 years, $9 million. So again, that adds to this, limited cap space we have left. However, I like the re-signing of Mostert. Maybe it helps.
Do you like the 2 year? Do you like the 2-year deal? I mean, Mostert is 31, but he runs like a damn 21-year-old.
Well, to an extent, I do. I mean, I like the idea of the 2 year. It really allows you to spread that money out over 2 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do know, as talented as Mostert is, he had a Pro Bowl season. He had a great year. But injuries are a concern when you are 31 and you were injured like he was last year. It is kind of concerning. However, I mean, where are you going to get even Derrick Henry? What did he sign for? 7? If I remember correctly. So 7 a year. Well, we signed Mostert to a 2-year deal for $9 million. I'm sure they finagled the money. There's no way that we paid him $7 million. And at that point, knowing the cap situation, again, $9 million, 2 years is $4.5 million, if that's how they kept his base salary. But I'm sure they backloaded it onto next year, with essentially it being an out year, with only guaranteed money this year.
And it's almost like a continuation thing. Mostert knows the offense. He knows the blocking schemes. He knows McDaniel. He knows the offensive role that he has. And so keep his ass in there. If we're getting him at $4.5 million a year, that's a bargain.
Absolutely, especially with the fact that I know we talked about it on Monday's show, but very briefly because, we had all kinds of other crap going on. But who's to say that A-Chain isn't going to be the featured back next year? Who's to say that Mostert isn't going to be the backup per se, in the sense that he gets less carries than A-Chain because of the health situation? And
I said last year, A-Chain will be our starting running back by week 3 or 4, which it damn near turned into that, huh?
I mean, we definitely used him at the beginning of games much more than Mostert, but Mostert overall got a hell of a lot more carries. But Mostert gets injured. You use A-Chain quite a bit. Then A-Chain gets injured. Jeff Wilson was injured. Fuck, we lost Chris Brooks, what, week 2 or 3? And, Savon Ahmed was injured at one point. Like, literally every running back on the fucking roster was injured at some point last year.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And so, which is why it would help, or would have, conceivably getting another, younger back, or maybe a Derrick Henry or whatever. But at the price point, it's not worth it when you don't have the cap space. Look at all the moves we made, and we're still just under $5 million in cap space.
Hey, we talked about it with Fish Tank Hank, that I'm a big fan of not only a late round draft pick quarterback, but I also love the late round draft pick running back. And now all of a sudden, I didn't think we would go running back in the draft at all, but I'm starting to hear a lot of talk about we may go running back late in the draft with one of those late picks. I don't know.
I mean, why not? I mean, like we talked about with Hank, as well as on Monday, when you address the inside linebacker position, you address center, we re-signed Isaiah Wynn. We have Robert Jones, Driscoll, and Eichenberg to battle it out for the other guard. Rumors have it that we're waiting until after the draft, and after June 1st, one of the veteran guards that is still available and had a decent year last year is on the market still. But it's something that we're going to revisit later on, one, because of cap circumstances, but also, you never know what's going to fall to you in the draft. Why not use one of those late round picks on a running back? I mean, D tackle, and we've talked about it, D tackle, wide receiver 3, if you don't sign Beckham or OBJ and other than that, it's about finding depth pieces to develop into eventual starters.
We're basically 4 deep in our running back room right now, though. That's,
Yeah, but you could have 4 deep, but if none of them stay healthy,
all of a sudden, if one of them gets hurt, all of a sudden you're 3 deep. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's why you go late round running back. That makes good sense. Yeah.
Especially when, look, no disrespect to Savon Ahmed. Ahmed is a good receiving third down back, but he's not a fucking bruising running back. He's not the type of physical presence we want. Really, the only one we have on the roster with that is Chris Brooks, but obviously, he got injured last year. And so, is Chris Brooks really going to be your change of pace back? We also brought in the tight end who plays halfback or not halfback, H-back. So you might get a few short yardage carries out of him. We keep talking about, as much as we love Alec Ingold, why not fucking hand the ball off to Alec Ingold every once in a while?
Yeah.
These short yardage situations have to be addressed. And
I think what is Ennis saying here? He said he doesn't want to take a running back. Is that what he's saying?
I don't know. He says I hate it. I don't know. Is it the re-signing of Mostert that he hated? Is it the idea of drafting a running back
Yeah,
late?
I think he's saying he doesn't want to take a running back. Is what he said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Ennis, if you're free, man, hop on up and give us your take,
Okay,
brother.
well then take a quarterback. A lot of people, it's different mindsets. It's different thoughts. A lot of people say take a quarterback in that late round, which either one could hit. Either one could hit, right, CT? I mean, you never
I mean,
know.
you don't, but again, that and he said, see, I was right. He said he hate that Raheem got extended. See? Yeah,
Okay,
see, I can agree. I can understand it, Ennis. Like I said, you have the injury concern, yeah, I would have liked to have gotten somebody who's a little bit more reliable, younger, even possibly a Derrick Henry, but I think the salary cap implications kind of took that off the table. But yeah, man, I think that again. Oh, he said now he wants a running back in the 4th round. Okay.
Damn, 4th round.
Whew. Do we have
Colin.
What's going on, Colin? I don't think we have a 4th round pick unless we trade back. I thought we had a 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th, if I remember correctly.
Don't even don't even waste a 4th round pick. Just take the running back, the last pick you have, and you'll have a badass running back. Running backs are a dime a dozen.
But the thing is, I mean, wasn't Chris Brooks a UDFA?
Yeah, UDFA.
So, I mean, absolutely, I agree. He'll be 32 in April. And yeah, I agree. I think that with his age, with the injury concern.
He's balling, Ennis. He's balling.
Yeah, but we made the same argument about Devontae Parker. When Devontae Parker's healthy, he balls. But how did that work out for us?
Well, Mostert's been healthy for the most part. Has he not?
Last year he got injured, and the year before, the first year he was here, he missed a couple games too.
I know he got hurt, but fuck, he was healthy enough to put up the numbers that he put up. It was breaking records. I mean,
I think it was A-Chain who was the one breaking the records.
No, Mostert broke some.
Oh, yeah, with the touchdown records, yeah, but I'm talking about, like,
everybody gets hurt. They all get hurt. We're lucky Tua stayed healthy.
He said Braylon Allen won't be there in the 7th round. Man, we got to start taking down these names and start doing some film studies. I know that we kept saying we're going to wait till a little bit closer to the draft, but these people are talking about
Coming at you, bro.
These guys are talking about people I have no idea who the fuck they are. So we got to start getting on it. I know we've been putting it off, but it might be time that we can't put it off anymore, please.
No, I mean it's that time, man. Draft is hardcore, dude. A lot of people downplay it or act like okay, we'll get who we get, but this is how you really build your team.
I agree, but I think that you have to be a certain kind of person to be able to sort through the thousands and thousands and thousands of college players. If you don't have the time to do that,
you only got a couple of picks, man. You only got a couple. You got more than a couple, but the 1st and 2nd round, unless you wheel and deal and get drop back and get another 2nd round and 3rd, you can do different stuff. But there's only 2 or 3 players really that should matter. If you hit on a 4th, 5th, 6th rounder, that's a diamond in the rough, man. You're almost getting lucky on that.
Absolutely. Did you drop that link, Bleezy?
Yeah. Yeah, I sent it to Ennis too, but let me drop it right here.
Okay. I didn't know if you sent it privately because I could text it to him if he needed it, but I didn't know.
No, I did.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
No, I said.
But yeah, I was saying. Go ahead.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying that it really comes down to, like you said, you only have so few picks, but yet there are fucking thousands upon thousands upon thousands of college players. And, for me, it's, I love Big Philly and doing the mock draft and all that. They get to know players, they get to, look through film. But even that, you've got such a small selection of those players that people tend to continuously bring up. So, okay, you may be familiar with 100 of these guys, but there's still fucking 8,000 more of them out there that you have no idea who they are.
Well, that's funny you say that. We did a short today on the channel of Jared Verse, I think his name is. He's an edge out of Florida State, and he mauled a 320-pound offensive lineman and sacked the quarterback at the same time. And he may not be available, but they're saying he might be available at 21, and he's an edge. And I'm like, damn, would that be crazy as fuck if we picked him up?
But then again,
he's out of Florida State. Check out the short we put out on him today.
Yeah, check it out. And I agree. The only thing is like I said before, now that gives you the opportunity to say move on from a Bradley Chubb, but at the same time, the more pressing need obviously is D tackle and a number 3 wide receiver. So I don't know, man. Ennis, the man, the myth, the legend. What is going on, brother?
What's up, Ennis?
What's going on?
What's happening, man?
So what do you think, big dog? Like like I was saying, there's so many of these guys out here. Like, where are you looking at, especially with the running backs? I mean, give us some insight. I'm sure you've done a lot more research. We haven't even started.
So, like, if you go stay on Raheem, you got HA, then you got Brooks. Go get Brooks another physical guy. If you got two, Savine, Jeff Wilson, or Raheem, that's too much of the same type in the building. Like, if you go stay Raheem, then go get me another physical guy with Chris Brooks. Don't make Chris Brooks the only physical back, because Jeff Wilson is not physical.
But he was supposed to be why we brought him in, but that's not what he turned out to be.
Right. The experiment is over.
I agree.
The experiment is over. Like,
I agree.
You can get a Trey Benson or Braylon Anna with the fourth round. Like, you can get in the 4th round. We got picks next year. There's stuff you can do to get in the 4th round. That's not the issue.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I didn't think we had it, but I forgot about that. Yeah, absolutely, we can move up. I mean, it all depends on Chris Greer's philosophy, like we talked about on Monday. Is Chris Grier really all in?
Ennis, are you saying you don't like the Mostert re-signing?
No, I don't.
I mean, he just
why would I like signing a 31, about to be 32-year-old running back? Like, what's exciting about that? It's the most carries he had this last year, over 200 carries. He's never done that in his career, and we think he's gonna do that again this year. Are you really ready to roll the dice?
Okay. No, I was just saying this. You're
like, are we willing to roll the dice on our playoff run on this? He's been injured the last 2 times going into the playoffs.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. I said he's been injured the last 2 fucking years. Granted, did he miss significant time? No. But that 4 or 5 game stretch, it's important. That's the difference between, again, fucking going on the road in Kansas City and being at home for a playoff game.
Go ahead, Blaze. You go say.
No. He was injured, but he racked up those numbers.
What
And
numbers? He only ran
He's talking
in the
about the
red zone.
touchdowns, which is
The
stupid, and
touchdowns
that's what
only
I just
came.
told.
Hold on, the touchdowns only came in the red zone. Like you, it ain't like you did 50-yard touchdown runs. He only had one 100-yard game.
well,
Like
who
what do
else you
we?
got to give it to in the red zone then?
That's
Who
my
else?
point. That's why you go get a Braylon Allen or Trey Benson. There's guys you can get after the fourth round that are better than Brooks. I like Brooks, but there are better running backs you can get later in this draft that are better than him.
What about the fact that Raheem knows the system? He's been in the system.
Man, that's an excuse, bro. We're using that too
He
much.
knows the
It's
play
running
call,
back, bro. It's not that hard to run outside zone run. It's not that complicated. If you,
continuity.
It's
bro,
and I
all right.
understand, Bleezy, but at the
I keep
same
saying
time,
that, man.
yeah, it's not a quarterback, and that's what I was trying to get at when we had this conversation before, Bleezy. The continuity of the scheme is important for a quarterback because the quarterback has to know everybody's fucking assignment. Now, when it comes to a running back, just like an offensive lineman, with an offensive lineman, bitch, it's fucking pull, double team, or block left or block right. It's not that fucking difficult. The same thing with the running back. This is the hole you're supposed to hit. Now, okay, if that's not there, you have a cutback. Try to find a cutback. This is not
Yeah,
fucking rocket science for a running back.
and as you also have flat passes. You have a little, a little scheme, little trick plays here and there
But
with
we
the
don't
wide.
do
So,
that with Raheem. We don't do that
right,
with
we don't do
Raheem.
that with Raheem.
It's
So,
Ahmed or not Ahmed. Sorry, A Chain who does that. That's not Mostert. We don't ask Mostert to do screen passes. We don't ask Mostert to go
Uh-huh.
out in the flat. We have Ingold go out in the flat. We have A Chain doing the screens. Like we just ask Mostert to run the fucking ball. That's all we ask him to do.
All right.
he doesn't break tackles, and you think he's gonna keep being fast as he get older? Like, who? Is he Tom Brady? Like, what are we doing?
I
Like,
He
mean,
is.
I'm not going to argue the fast part. I agree with you on the injury thing, but I mean, it's just like Tyreek, though. Even if Mostert slows the fuck down a little bit with age, he's still faster than 90% of the players in the league.
I doubt
The
it. He doesn't
injury
have
issue
it no more.
concerns me.
That's fine. Y'all can be happy with it. I'm not.
I'm not happy with it. I'm not saying I'm happy with it.
I
I
just,
mean,
I, the only, the only,
Ennis, did you want Derrick Henry?
I wanted Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, AJ Dillon. I wanted so many because that room is terrible. Besides A Chain, I'm sorry. That is the worst room on this team.
Hey, I'm not gonna argue with you, bro. It's mid. It's mid. It's mid. It's mid.
A
Except for
Chain is the
eight.
only thing I got to look forward to this season out of there. Chris Brooks,
Most
okay, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm. I gotta wait to see it. I'm not gonna get hype off of preseason and a few blocks that he did in the game. Like everybody else is all hype over preseason. We've seen preseason studs, and then the season come, niggas disappear. He did
Ennis,
look good when he did look good when he took Ingles' role and played fullback that game. I give him that. But let's see. But I'm going to go get somebody else to replace Savon or Jeff Wilson.
yeah.
Period.
The thing about it is, Ennis, and tell me what you think. It seems to me that Raheem Mostert's got a lot left in the tank. He doesn't seem like a 31-year-old back. He seems like he's ready to go out and kick some ass for another year or two. Do you not feel that?
No.
You don't feel He said no. Okay. All right. Well, then we need a fucking running back then. Colin, what do you think? Is he on here? Ennis, hey, you know me and you love these Dolphins, man. I mean, what? So what do you want to do with the running back position? You
I
got
just
me.
don't understand how we was in on Jonathan Taylor, Jacobs. Now we're not. What changed? That's my thing. We was in running back uh, rumors the last 2 years. Now all of a sudden, when you got the money, got the opportunity to do it, you're not gonna do it. That's the frustrating part. But I'm trying to wait till the draft and see what they do before I start. Because once they start camp with these same guys in this room, y'all gonna see me on Twitter going crazy. Just remember I told y'all.
No, I agree. It's like I told you, Ennis. I think that whether it's late round or mid round, wherever, if we want to move up and get a guy in the fourth, I'm not against it because I agree. I think that sorry, as we know, all five of our fucking running backs that were on the roster last year, every one of them got injured at some point last year. I'd rather have a younger guy with less mileage. Now, granted, I think Chris Brooks was a little more of a fluke injury, but even in that aspect, you draft a guy that doesn't have an injury history, who has a low mileage, who has a high ceiling, and you have a running back for the future as well when he turns out, instead of continuing to put all your chips on the table with old veterans who are oft injured. At some point, you got to fucking cut the cord. And I hate to say it because I think it's an unfair comparison to compare him to Xavier Howard, but the concept or the thought process is similar, right? So if you're willing to fucking cut the cord with X, some point you got to be willing to cut the cord with other older veterans. Granted, Mostert's not making nearly as much as X was, but still, I mean, it's the same concept.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
understand, Bleezy. You love Raheem. I understand. It's okay.
no, I don't. I don't. I don't love Raheem. I'm just saying the guy's in the flow with the offense, man. That's what I'm saying. He's in the flow. He knows the offense continuity. You can't bring somebody off. He's in flow with the blockers. You can't bring somebody off the streets and throw him in there and think that he's going to do it. Raheem,
Why
it's
not? It's just outside
chemistry.
zone run. There's other teams that run that offense that run that outside zone
It's,
run. It's not like we
chem-
run a running style that nobody else runs in the league, or they do it in college. Like you acting like
I know.
CT said, this is the
I know
quarterback
you're
position.
right.
It's not the quarterback position,
No, it's a running back position. You're right,
so it's
but
not hard
okay,
to
okay,
incorporate.
Dennis, I'm talking about chemistry.
What
That's what I'm talking.
chemistry? You getting hand off the ball. What do you mean
Chemistry.
chemistry?
You
Oh
gotta
my
have
God,
between the running
bro.
back and the offensive line. You need chemistry.
That's what training camp is for. That's what you bring your people that you draft in for training camp.
That's your
So you
role. So
saying so you
that's
saying
the
rookies at training camp ain't gonna be able to get chemistry because
no.
they just coming in?
I'm talking about that's a season long process with the running
Oh,
back and
all
the
right,
offensive line.
Well, so is an offensive line, though. And
right.
the fact that we had all the injuries on the offensive line, we really didn't build any continuity on that offensive line last year with all the injuries. But you would hope that with training camp in the offseason, you brought Isaiah Wynn back, you brought in Brewer. He's a new guy. You're going to have new dudes at multiple positions every year. And either they're going to catch on to the scheme and they're going to do their job or they're not. One
Ennis,
way or the other.
I am not on Mostert's jock by any means. I mean, he can go somewhere else for all I care. I like Brooks. I like Achan.
But
Believe me.
but your explanation, then we're never gonna add nobody to this offense. If we got that mindset, we can't add nobody because of chemistry. Like CP said, you
I'm
always
like,
gonna add people.
if a guy is producing, yeah, I want to keep him. Right? Wouldn't you?
So then we should have drafted HA because he did have chemistry.
Achan's a badass running back that we
Okay, then.
draft.
So you said we can't get a badass running back.
A,
That's what my point. Like you make
no,
it, you don't know the running backs in the draft. So how can you say that?
no, no, I'm not. I'm not. Hold on. You just switched that up out of nowhere. We picked up Achan in the second round, and he's a badass running back, and I like him. But Mostert is really our RB1 at this point, unless they
And
flip
that's
it around,
terrible.
huh?
Your starting running back is 32 years old, and he's not Derrick Henry.
But if
Now,
You
you
I
make
look,
my
would say
point.
I wouldn't go as far to say he's terrible. He still had 1,000 yard season. Now, I think the touchdown numbers were inflated, but I mean, he still got us some yards. Does that mean he's terrible? I don't know if
I
I
didn't
go
say he's
that.
terrible. I said that's terrible that your starting running back is going to be 32 years old.
Yeah, I
fuck
can
the
agree with that.
age. Fuck the age.
Okay, just say that when I'm gonna remember that when he gets injured again and he's not playing down the stretch of the season. But y'all gonna say what the age? Remember that.
Hey, Devon Achan may be our RB1 anyway.
And what happens if something happens to him?
And then you got Mostert and Brooks and
See,
Ahmed.
same shit we had last year.
Yeah, and I look, like I said, no disrespect to fucking Ahmed, but when fucking Brooks went down and Mostert went down, and we had to depend on the complement of A Chain and freaking Ahmed, it was fucking terrible. I'm sorry, but it was fucking terrible. Ahmed again, third down out of coming out of the backfield, the swing passes, the ability to catch things, out of the slot, um, and on the little block and release plays. Ahmed is great. I will give him credit where credit is due. That is his game. Being a third down back, I may run it, but my hands are really what gives me the advantage. But on first and second down, Ahmed is fucking useless. I'm
Ennis,
sorry.
so what is your remedy then? Because you know I
I, ju-
love you. You know I love you, bro.
I
You know
told you the remedy. You go get you a Braylon Allen or a Trey Benson later in the draft. Period.
all right.
The reason why we got Ahmed in that with A Chain where we did because the draft was weak, so they had to pick him there. He was predicted to go in the third round. He wasn't even supposed to go in the second round. I mean, we did get him in the third round. Matter of fact, I'm tripping. So this year is loaded. That's why the running backs are not being talked about. But they're not bad.
Right.
This
They're
class
not.
is better than last
Running
year's
back
class.
running backs are not being talked about at all.
That's because everywhere else is deep this year. But this
Yep.
running back class is better than last year's running back class.
Now,
Damn.
Ennis, and I obviously you do a lot more research with the college guys and whatnot. I've heard the same thing as far as offensive linemen. I heard that there's a really fucking deep draft of offensive linemen this year.
Yeah.
And so we know though D tackle there's only a fucking couple of them and then it drops off a freaking mountainside. So do you really think that maybe you need to trade up in the first round to try to get one of these D tackles, or are you going to see what falls to you?
So we had a space earlier today, and we was going over it. If you look, no, the draft never falls how people do their mocks. So this could be wrong, but just listen to this. If you got five quarterbacks that might go in the top 15, all right, you got four wide receivers that's possible to go. Then you got three linemen, tackles that they think they're gonna go top 10. So you're almost at 10 already. No defensive players have went yet. No edge rushers, no cornerbacks. So by the time you get to 21, we did it. It's going to be 4 to 5 players that could have went in the top 15 that's still going to be there. Now, is that going to be defense, wide receiver, or lineman, depending on somebody trades up out of nowhere to push another player down. So you don't have to go nowhere. There's going to be quality defense. Either it's going to be an edge or it's going to be a defensive tackle. We need both. So that's
Well,
why
do
you
we,
sit there.
do we really need both, or are you saying we need both in the aspect of if we get an edge guy and we develop him, then maybe next year we can move off a Chubb.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Because we only have one healthy outside rusher. That's Barrett. Goody's hurt from last
and
year. Chubb,
yeah,
Chubb and Phillips are coming back from injury. So we only have Barrett in the room. That's healthy. We have to
You
get
saw
somebody
you saw that
regardless.
short. You saw that short. Anna said that we posted today about Jared Verse. I didn't know that much about him, but I looked at his highlights. That dude's a beast coming off the edge from Florida State. He's a monster, man.
Yeah.
I don't,
So
I, I
like
don't know.
Dallas Turner gonna go before him. So he might be there. That's what we're saying. That's why you don't trade up or trade back.
Yeah. Right. I was
well,
gonna
I
say,
was just saying because everybody seems to be so fucking hyper focused on the loss of Christian Wilkins, which, granted, I understand from a leadership perspective, from a production standpoint, but we had people up here before you came on or Wednesday. I think you came on Monday night show. There are people who were like, "Oh, we got to trade up to get one of these 2 D tackles because." And I forgot their names because, again, I'm not a huge college guy until it gets super close to the draft. But they were like, "Oh, these 2 guys, they're not going to be there at 21. You got to move it up." I'm like, "No, you don't have to move up because even if you don't take a D tackle and they're taken." There's still going to be other guys out there, whether it's the 3rd wide receiver, whether it's an offensive lineman. Even if you have the ability, say those 5 top quarterbacks don't go top 15, and one of them says, "Oh shit, the Dolphins are picking at 21. Let me trade up." Maybe you do move back a little bit. If you pick up 2 second rounders and a 4th rounder, it would be worth that trade value. Because in the 2nd round, you could pick a running back and a fucking lineman, and you got 2 solid fucking guys ready to go right out the gate.
I already know who they was trying to trade up for. Byron Murphy from Texas. He's a stud, but you don't have to do that because we like you said we signed 5 defensive tackles in free agency. So if we was able
right.
and our D line coach is able to coach them up, which I think he is. That's why I don't think D tackle is a higher need than edge in this draft. So that's why I said you can sit at 21 and take the best player available. If Brian Thomas Jr. is there and the 3rd edge guy is there, then you got a good choice to make. Either direction you go, you're going to be fine.
Defense.
Yeah,
But Weaver's going to get his guy. McDaniel's going to help because if McDaniel helps Weaver, that helps him. So why would you not let him get a guy to help his defense?
I like that.
I agree, but I also think that, like you said, and I it's almost like we talked about all the years Flores was here about whether it was Kyle Van Noy and how he, got fucking on the bad side of Flores, but he was still productive. Was he as great as he was in New England? Absolutely not. But in the same context, Brian Flores elevated the play of the linebackers. Well, Anthony Weaver's a fucking D-line coach, and you think that he's not going to come in and put his stamp on that? Like, come on. Like, some people, they almost seem to forget, because now he's going to be a D coordinator. Just the same way with Frank Smith. People, we failed with the Jacquez fucking guy, that guy sucked dick. And the other guy that we got out of college that sucked, that we fired. But these guys, okay, if I got to come over, Frank Smith goes over and helps the offensive line when Jacquez and the college guy sucked. You don't think that if Weaver's going to handpick his D-line coach, and if things aren't going right, that he ain't going to go over there and make it right? Like, people seem to fucking forget this shit. Like, they want to emphasize their position, that they coached to get to where they are. And I really do think, and I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but I think that's partly why Mike McDaniel chose Anthony Weaver over other guys, because he knew, hey, we got Bradley Chubb, we got Jalen Phillips, we're going to lose Christian Wilkins, we still have Seiler, but that's something for this guy to work with in his niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can give you guys some names to check out if y'all want, but I think he's going to be down between Zaire and Newton. He's a D tackle from Illinois. Chop Robertson.
All right, hold on, Ennis. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm ready because I want to write these down because, like I said, we're going to fucking start diving into these.
I don't know how to spell Zaire, but his last name is Newton, D tackle from Illinois.
Zaire Newton. Out of Illinois, and he's a D tackle. All right, we got that one.
Chop Robertson.
I know about Chop. Everybody's heard about Chop.
Okay, Demarius Robertson from Missouri.
Demarius Robertson, Missouri. All right.
Latu. Him or Verse might fall to us. So either you already know about Verse, but Latu is the other guy from UCLA.
Okay. Well, those are 4 D tackles you're looking.
Did he cut out, or is it me?
It was me. Sorry. Sometimes freaking StreamYard, when I go to my text to type, it'll cut you off. So what DNs are you interested in?
Chop Robinson, and Denard Robinson can play D and outside. Jared Versus an outside guy. And Latu's out there. Only D tackle is Zaire Newton. That's why I only pick one, because he might fall. The other 2 D tackles, they'd probably be gone.
And Latu is from where?
UCLA.
All right, UCLA. All right, my bad. All right, there you go.
He's Jalen Phillips on the other side. He has the same talent. Looks like he's light skinned, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's Jalen Phillips from 2.0. And if you have him on the other side, and you Chubb lead and you groom him, you got them 2 boys on the edge. That would be dangerous.
That'd be crazy. It's gonna be crazy if we go edge with our first pick at 21.
It's not gonna be crazy because you got guys that's gonna
I
be missing the first 4 weeks.
I love it. You're right, but it's just like, okay.
I like the fact that Ennis and I have always been on this page. Fuck, all the way back in the day too. There's so many people who become short-sighted in the immediate that they're not worried about what happens in 2 years or 3 years. And when you get these short-minded individuals like with Bradley Chubb, yeah, that's great. He's going to come back. Now, I've said in my personal or my professional opinion, we're not going to see fucking Bradley Chubb until probably early mid-November. Jalen Phillips, look, everybody's a little bit different. And again, Omar Kelly loves to steal my shit. Fuck Omar. But I said again, even if Phillips is ready to come back early August, maybe mid-August, we do know that Mike McDaniel has the propensity to err on the side of caution we look at what happened with Nick Needham coming off the Achilles, right? Well, he was activated 4 weeks before he even started practicing, let alone played in a game. So even if Phillips is ready to play in early August, he's not seeing the field to September, maybe October, and people don't seem to think about, okay, yeah, they come back, but we also know that with all these contract signings, we're kicking the fucking can down the road with the money. If you can draft this new edge guy, you can trade Bradley Chubb, get that contract off your books. And it helps you, it kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
They didn't extend. They didn't restructure Chubb, so that way they didn't move the out down the road. That means after this season, if he doesn't recover, we can get out of that contract. So that
Yeah,
tells
but
you
we
right
don't
there.
want it to but we don't want it to be another X situation where he comes back and he doesn't recover and he doesn't play up to par, but we have no other fucking option but to keep him. And the question is Chris Greer going to learn his fucking lesson? That's the question.
He did. That's why he didn't restructure it to push the out. Because if he would normally he would have did it, believing he's going to come back, he's going to be the old Chubb. He would have restructured him and pushed it out two years down the road. He didn't. He's
But
going to
no,
wait.
instead we did that with Ramsey. And then we also just did it with Raheem Mostert, which again, look, Mostert, I see him more again as a fucking role player, not a featured back. But even in that aspect, we signed that extension to create cap space.
Hey, Ennis, I'm totally cool with HN being our RB1. Believe me.
So
You
I
think I'm
know
on
this.
Mostert's jock. I'm not on his jock.
Y'all love Mr. 4.9.
Yeah. I mean, hey, 4.9 is fucking better than freaking, what was it, 3.2 or 2.9 the two previous years before Mostert showed up here. But again, the question is how much of that is on the running back and how much of that was the trash offensive line? We'll never fucking know. You know what I mean?
4.9, but can't even get 31. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I agree with that, but like I said, I would rather take 4.9 yard average over a fucking 3.2 and a 2.9 the two previous years before he showed up. So I'm just saying
That's got more to do with the O line.
that, and I think the scheme as well, where you don't have the offensive linemen, and Flores wanted to be a power blocking scheme, run the ball straight up the middle. And not only did we not have the talent at running back to do that, we didn't have the talent at the offensive line to run that scheme.
Not to mention coaching. Now we got Butch Berry.
Man, I'm not hiding his deficiencies behind a good old line. Because if you got a good old line and a good running back, that's even more dangerous. So we're gonna put a good line with an average runner, and that's what we want.
No. What I was saying is, and this is where I think you were here Wednesday when I brought it up. And this is when they asked Harbaugh about, all right, it's your turn to build your team the way you want. What are your top priorities? Offensive line is number one. And why? Because whether Tua's the answer or not, or whether A-Chain, I know it's A-Chain, but I'm going to call him A-Chain because until we started calling him A-Chain, we called him A-Chain and then he got injured. So I'm going to keep calling him A-Chain. It doesn't matter if you get the offensive line settled. if the quarterback or the running back are the issue, you can plug and play. And that's kind of my mentality. I don't want to settle for just a good running back. I'd love a great running back. But if you have a great running back and a shitty offensive line, yeah, that great running back's still going to get yards, but it's not going to be enough to satisfy what Mike McDaniel wants to do with the scheme. And if you get – go ahead.
I mean, and this is not going to – he's going to fucking dog me. But Mostert's an Olympic runner, track runner. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's, you know.
That was 20 years ago.
I'm not saying the guy's gonna break tackles and bust. You know, I'm not saying he's Bo Jackson, but the guy is like, for him to
he's a complementary piece. That's the issue, Bleezy. That's what we're trying to get across to you. He is a complementary piece.
He's a third down back. That's what he is.
I wouldn't say third down. I think that he doesn't have the hands to be a third down back, to be honest. I think Ahmed is more of a third down back than Mostert
I mean third down. I mean third on the depth chart.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I was saying, you know, Mostert is not a catcher. We don't ask him to do that. The thing is he's a complementary piece, and I really do think that as much as it frustrates me with Mike McDaniel being a run game coordinator, you would think that you watch Shanahan not only have guys that were speedsters, but you bring in a Deebo Samuel, which, by the way, is a former Gamecock. Let's fucking go, baby. But again, a bigger guy who can run and he can receive, and it balances what you want to do on offense. Why is it that Mike McDaniel has failed to take on the physical aspect of the run game? He seems to focus only on the speed. And again, when you pigeonhole yourself, if I can see you're pigeonholing yourself as a, you know, stupid exercise physiologist who's not, you know, a GM or a coach in football, if I can see it, what do you think defensive coordinators see? You don't think they pick up on that? Okay, well, let's fucking put our guys on the outside. Let's be prepared for the outside runs because they're not going to run it up the middle. And the thing is the times that Mike McDaniel actually ran the ball up the middle with Chris Brooks and shit early in the season before he got injured, it was working wonderfully. But then Chris Brooks gets injured and he goes away from it.
That's why I said you go get you a physical stud. Then you make H-Hand the number one, him the number two, and then you have Mostert to relieve H-Hand every now and then. Like, what's wrong with that?
I'm fine with that. I like that.
I mean, I do think that, and I will give credit where.
Hey, I'm totally cool with H-Hand being our number one back. Give him the rock.
I think totally we need to give Chris Brooks another shot. I'm afraid that he might not get another chance if we do bring in another physical running back. But if the guy is more talented than Chris Brooks, I don't give a fuck. So I love the way Chris Brooks runs. He always falls forward. There's not a single time he was driven backward. He's always chopping his legs. He's always moving forward. I love Chris Brooks, but if you can get me a Chris Brooks type guy with better talent, bye. Bye, Felicia.
Ennis, what do you think we're doing with QB2 this year?
Nothing. Mike White is still on the roster. He's gonna be here.
Mike White. Okay. Mike White.
Do you think Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins have given up on Skylar Thompson?
Yep.
Oh, you're gonna get your ass
Damn.
in trouble. I did, Ennis, because I said the same shit and I got dogged for it.
Damn.
Mike White's still on the roster. Tells you they gave up on Skylar. There's no reason you paid Mike White $5 million this year if Skylar is supposed to take his step to what he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one more. Sorry, you got cut off from me.
And I was saying you don't keep Mike White on the roster for $5 million if Skylar Thompson is
We do, what the fuck we doing paying Mike White $5 billion?
because Skylar's not it.
Yeah,
That's
and
why.
I agree. And the thing, go ahead. My bad.
No, he's right.
No, I was trying to say to Ennis that's what I've been saying is the fact that Mike White even came out and threw 2 pick sixes this year, and they still fucking played him over Skylar Thompson, who also, mind you, threw 2 pick sixes in his rookie year. That's not very fucking good confidence level in Skylar Thompson. And I think they're done. They're over that experiment. He played great as a rookie. He filled in and did his best, but they're always looking for something better. But that's why I'm willing to, hey, let's draft another younger quarterback at the end of the fucking draft, even if it's, 6th, 7th round guy. You might as well get rid of Skylar Thompson and try something new. And that's what, Greer is able to do that with other positions. But it seems at the quarterback position, whether it was Teddy Bridgewater, whether it was, what was his name before that? Brissett. He was willing to move off of guys after a year. But why is it that if you have absolutely no confidence in Skylar Thompson whatsoever, which your actions prove that you don't, why not just move the fuck on?
The QB2 is an important position, man. And I said we should go after Bo Nix.
Denver might draft him.
Yeah.
Well, Denver's got to draft somebody after the failed fucking Russell Wilson experiment.
Yeah, he's not going to fall to the 5th, 6th, 7th round.
No, I agree. But, I mean, even if it's not Bo Nix, just somebody to say, obviously you have no confidence in Skylar. You might as well get rid of him. Give another younger guy a chance. Because at this point, it's obviously, like you said, you signed Mike White to a $5 million contract, or whatever it was last year. He's getting paid $5 million this year. I think it was 6.2 he made last year. But still, obviously, you have no fucking confidence in Skylar whatsoever to bring in a guy who, he played 1 year at the Jets. Yes, the guy had fucking heart and moxie to battle through the broken ribs and play and whatever. But even fucking Mike White sucks dick. And if you were willing to play him over Skylar, then why not just release him and find somebody else to give a shot? That's kind of my opinion.
They might take one late in their draft and bring him in to compete with Skylar. You just don't cut him right now because you got to see if you get somebody first.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But I was saying just in general, like, it makes sense to bring in somebody because obviously you have no fucking confidence in him whatsoever.
They're going to bring a guy in for camp anyway. So is it going to be a UDFA?
Yeah, but is it going to be another, what is his, Blackman or whatever his name was from FSU last year, where we all knew the guy was never going to beat out Mike White or fucking Skylar Thompson. Like, you got to start, bring in somebody actually worthy of the opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but yeah, it makes sense.
I just felt like it's the same thing we did with Tua, with the Jacoby Brissett and the Teddy Bridgewater. Like, okay, you're going to say you're going to bring in competition, but you're going to bring in competition so low that the fans already know right out the gate that there is no competition. You know what I mean? Like, you want to give the facade of the competition, but in reality, there is no competition, you know?
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters if they bring in a 5th or 6th round guy? Do you think that given the money that they're paying Mike White, even if this guy outplays Mike White, that he's going to get the number 2 position?
No.
Damn.
It's like Lee said, the continuity at the quarterback position is more important than anywhere else.
I agree. Well, QB is number 1, and then offensive and defensive line come 2 and 3.
You just hope he can beat out Skyler. Don't rush it.
Well, I mean, that ain't asking much. I mean, to be honest, that ain't asking much.
If he does it, then you're in good hands. Then you worry about him taking the 2nd spot the year after.
Oh, shit. Look who showed up.
Amicus, the brother in the building. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Good. But so Amicus coming in brings me up.
You know Ennis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just want to bring this up. Now that Amicus is in here, it gives me a good segue too. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on the compensatory picks, because the NFL did put out today a what they call an early expected pick chart, and the Dolphins and the Bills have a few on here. So I kind of wanted to give you guys an update on that. With the Dolphins, we're looking at, with the loss of Wilkins and Hunt, we're going to receive 2 third-round compensatory picks. Now, we're the only team in the NFL that is going to get compensatory picks in the first 4 rounds of the draft. No other team is going to get compensatory picks in the first 4 rounds. We would have gotten an additional 3rd-round pick for the loss of Deshaun Elliott. However, because we signed, or not Deshaun Elliott, sorry, I apologize. We were supposed to get a 4th-round pick for Van Ginkel, but we signed Jordan Brooks, so that canceled out that signing.
It was Fuller. It was Fuller, I thought, canceled that out.
No, I'm looking at the article on NFL.com. It says a 5th-round pick was on the line or a 4th-round pick was on the line for Van Ginkel, signing with Minnesota, but Jordan Brooks' 3-year deal canceled that out. Raekwon Davis and Brandon Jones signed deals that qualified for 6th-round picks, but those were canceled out by Aaron Brewer and Kendall Fuller signings. So Kendall Fuller canceled out one of either Raekwon or Brandon Jones' deal. Another one is the Buffalo Bills are going to receive a 4th and a 5th-round compensatory draft picks after losing Gabriel Davis and Leonard Floyd in free agency. Neither the Jets nor the New England Patriots are projected to qualify for any additional picks. So knowing that, I mean, obviously we're not going to get those compensatory picks this year. We're going to get them next year, obviously. However, we know that you cannot trade compensatory picks at all. So they cannot be used to trade. However, knowing you have those compensatory picks allows you to say, okay, my third rounder, possibly my fourth rounder, I can use to move up this year because I know that I'm going to get 2 third rounders next year.
You can use your second next year as well, because you got 3 and the third to move up in the second if you need to.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you guys think that maybe that would shape this year's draft? Because having those 4 additional picks, now we're slated to get 2 thirds, a fourth, and a fifth. We could have gotten an additional fifth and 2 sixths, but those were canceled out, obviously. But we got an additional 4 picks next year just based on the compensatory picks. How do you guys think that? Do you think that Greer's going to use that to his advantage to be more aggressive this year in the draft?
Yeah, if the right person falls, if the right players start falling, and they identify somebody they want.
Okay. What do you, Amicus? What do you think about knowing you guys on right now? Now, the compensatory pick formula does end June 1st, by the way. So Miami Dolphins do sign any significant people, or the Bills for that matter, it will continue to affect the compensatory picks. But you got an extra 4th and a 5th round next year, Amicus. How do you think that's going to affect Brandon Beane's strategy?
Well, I have 2 things to say, actually. One, the 49ers and the Bills got fucked this year because we should have had a 3rd round compensatory pick and we only got a 4th. And I don't know the 49ers situation, but I know they got fucked too because I heard about it. But Beane was counting on a 3rd round pick this year and he didn't get it. So that's disappointing. And he actually appealed it. And I don't know the whole story, man, but like, they appealed it and they wanted like clarification on the rule, and the NFL kind of makes up their own shit with that fucking compensatory. That, have you ever read the rule on the compensatory? Because apparently it's so fucked up that one of the best GMs in the NFL had to appeal and ask for clarification a couple of times on the phone. I think he may have even flown out to get the fucking explanation in person because everybody on his staff, including him, said it should have been a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, we did. We read it the night that we talked about it. It takes into account previous years of snap counts, production, i.e. per position, as well as accolades. So say you get a Pro Bowl or All Pro or, Defensive Player of the Year, whatever it is, accolades. And then it takes into account and this is the thing, it's only perspective, right? Because again, you do understand that your 4th round could turn into a 3rd round by the end of next year. You do know that, right? Yeah,
but I'm talking about the one this year that's already done. It's solidified. Like it should have been a 3rd based on the formula
from last year. You're talking about something from last year. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the next year, if they outperform snap count, production, i.e. positional production, and accolades, that it can be increased. So there is a chance with Christian Wilkins, if he does outperform himself from this year, that compensatory 3rd can turn into a compensatory 2nd.
Yeah, and so to answer your question, I just wanted to bring that up because from what I heard, like the NFL kind of like they swindled the Bills and the 49ers, right? Based on their own formula they use. So as far as, I think that was the Tremaine Edmonds one. But as far as next year, the Gabe Davis, here's how I look at it. If he goes out and becomes like a number one for who even got Gabe? Where did he go? He went to where the fuck did he sign?
Give me a second.
The Jags? Did he sign? No. Either the Raiders or the Jags, one of the two. I forget. Nevertheless, if he balls out or whatnot, then yeah, that's great. But here's how I look at it. As it stands right now, I think we got him in the 4th round. He's a 7th round pick. Fuck that guy. I'll take the 4th, man. That's a win-win. That's a win.
He did trade it to the Jags, by the way. Or not traded,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
signed with the Jags.
Yeah, he signed with Jags. Yeah. And I don't mean fuck that guy. Like, Gabe is fine, man, but I was not a Gabe Davis fan at all. Too many drops.
Slaughtered that motherfucker on this show week after week after week. Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't
I'll
say
slaughter him again.
Say you didn't mind him. You slaughtered him.
He led the league in drops, and out of all the drops, he had the least amount of receptions or balls thrown to. So, like, he was just trash, man. You know, he's a product of a big time game, 4 touchdowns against that Chiefs in 2021, right? And in the AFC Championship game, that was it. And then he had that big, like, that 80-yard or 90-yard bomb against the Steelers, you know? So, like, a couple of plays, just like Odell Beckham Jr., man. Like, he's a one-play fucking, you know, show. I mean, what do you call it? One-hit wonder? He's a one-play. He's a one-catch wonder, right? Gabe Davis is like that. A couple of games, but every other fucking game, he was gone. I sent you the fucking tape, CT, where the ball, like, how many was it? Like 5 times the ball, like, touched his fingers, just went right through his hands, whatever. He was trash. And Mikey would always, like, defend the guy. He'll bash Josh Allen, but defend Gabe Davis. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, I'm excited about the 4th round pick.
In his nose. We've been through that. His name was fucking Jakeem Grant on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, but also real quick to your point, I hope he balls out and it goes to a 3rd. You know, I don't care, you know. But here's the thing. You could. I'm assuming you can't trade the compensatory picks.
No,
but
you cannot at all.
What you can do is, knowing that you have an extra 4th as it stands right now, could be better. You can go ahead and package something this year. So what I do love about this is that we already have 11 picks this year. I think Bean's going to move up to grab one of those stud wide receivers. So if you're doing that, we have 2 4th round picks this year. We could package something like a 4th this year and a 4th next year, knowing that we got the compensatory, right? So you could do package deals like that, knowing ahead of time what you're going to get. That benefits a team like the Bills with 11 picks.
But it also, at the same time, if he doesn't perform, it could drop to a 5th. It could possibly drop to a 6th too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, that's the gamble that the negotiators make, right? Whoever's taking the deal, they got to look at that too, and we got to look at it as well. It's more likely he drops to a 5th than him going up to a 3rd, right? So Bean just has to do what Bean does.
Ennis, OG, the man. What do you think Greer's going to do with that? Because I really do think that I give Greer his credit in fleecing people in trades and doing well in that aspect. I just think that he struggles in identifying talent in certain positions. But maybe if we package one of these guys to move up, we can get into a range where Chris Greer can actually make a solid decision. What do you think about that?
I don't think he struggles. I think the coaching wasn't good enough for the guys that he was drafting to develop. The ones he drafted on defense worked. It was the offensive side of guys that didn't work because our coaching was terrible until McDaniel came. So I think they helped him identify better players. Like I said, it's just going to depend where the board is at in them rounds. And if somebody's falling they love, he's going to be aggressive and go after it. He's not worried about next year as far as saving picks. He's not going to destroy it, but he's not worried about saving because
So
he
I
does
have
it
a
all through
question
that
for
year. So
sorry, Enos.
why worry about it?
I have a question for Enos and UCT. Basically, what we just talked about. Like, what do you think Gabe is going to do on the Jags, right? And would you? Because I think there's a great chance we try to make a deal with y'all to move up to 21. Would you? I mean, how would you value
No,
that
there's
fourth
no
round?
way that's happening. You can get that out of your fucking head, Amicus. That ain't
What?
happening.
Whoa,
Unless
whoa! You've
Greer
been
is
talking all
fleecing
fucking
you.
week about moving back.
No, I understand that, but I'm telling you, unless Greer is fleecing you, there's no way that Chris Greer knows as a division rival, he is not fucking letting you have that pick unless you are giving up the fucking sun and the moon. Boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Cap for life in the building. What's going on, brother? I'm gonna get to you in one
Yeah,
second, man.
Brandon Bean don't get fleeced. First off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you ain't moving up here regardless. And the thing, Ennis, is I love you, Ennis, but if you want to say that he didn't make bad choices on the defensive side, I can point out Channing Tindall, Cameron Good, Noah Igbenogany. There's so many fucking bad choices there. And I think that, again, as much as people say that he's a BPA, well, there are multiple examples, whether it's Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, whether offensive line or a cornerback with Noah or Isaiah Zada doubling that, actually tripling down in the same draft, getting 3 fucking offensive linemen, knowing that you have a huge need at that position. You should have addressed it in free agency. And then if you wanted to draft younger guys to try to develop for the future, that's fine. But it does seem that Greer tends to overreach and he likes players that he likes, which I get it to a degree, but there's no way to argue that he drafts BPA. He drafts either for premier positions and he overdrafts trying to hit a home run instead of going for a need and finding a solid player without trying to overreach. Do you agree or disagree with that?
But you can't say you hate he can't pick in the later rounds, but then love the guys that he picked in the later rounds as well. Because he picked Hunt in the second round, he picked Holland in the second round, he picked Van Ginkel in the later round, he picked Brandon Jones in the later round. Like you love those guys, but you're mad about Noah and Channing Tindall. Those are 2 versus 4. Like the numbers,
Now,
the percentages are not adding up.
I wasn't, and I can agree to that extent that he does hit on some late round gems, which I will give him credit for. But that's where it's
Who gets credit for Gideon Howard?
I think Howard was a 4th or 5th round pick.
But who gets credit for that?
I really do think that. Look, me and Bleezy went through this fucking argument.
If you're
We
going to
went
give
through
real
this
credit
argument.
for Xavier Howard, because I keep hearing nothing but people giving credit to Xavier Howard, Chris Greer. But if you have that logic being that was 2016, Charles Harris was 2017.
And yeah, and but that's my thing is this is where Bleezy and I had this argument on Monday's show. And Cap, you were here when we had that argument. So in an interview, Greer said that Howard was his first pick, but that's bullshit because he didn't take over until the following year. So which one is it?
Hold on, but the context to that was he was saying that was the first guy that they let him pick that they took. He said he suggested other guys, they never picked him. That was the first guy that they listened to that he pounded the table for.
Correct.
Okay,
I think
so
he says that's his
I think Josh
Harris
Moser
was
even
his-
confirmed that they have a history.
Go ahead, Cap for life again. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I was like, I even think Josh Moser was on Stephen D's show or on DolphinTalk.com, and he was saying that Greer was pretty much that was his pick. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, that's 2016. And then Charles Harris was a first round pick in 2017. I'm just between those 2 years, we can all agree, like, we don't know who the GM was, and that's kind of concerning. I just don't want that to get to this point now where, you know, we know these are his picks. Granted, we all know we're working on free agents and we're going deep. We're not rebuilding. Like you said last week, CT, we're going all in. But if this doesn't work, God forbid, I'm starting to think like what Ennis was saying too with the running back situation. We just paid Mostert to stay, but are you really content with Mostert being a starter for the next 17 games and taking away snaps from A-Chain, which you have, I think, what you put it, what, a second round pick, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what I agree with Ennis. Is I'd said, you know, do I like the signing as far as cap number? Yes, because in the compensatory pick situation, we know that we're getting these picks, but also we know that we are a hair shy. We're at $4.96 million in cap space until June 1st. We have $4.96 million until June 1st. Now, are you going to say it again?
Is the money to be a strikes and
You're breaking up really bad on us, Cat for Life. You're getting all computery. Try it again.
Sorry, man. This
Damn. All right, we lost him. But yeah, I agree with Ennis. I think that it was a cap thing. You want to extend him. You want to get a guy on the roster. But again, I'm not comfortable with him being a starter for 2 more years. Even if you give him a 2-year extension and you only plan to keep him 1 more year, you still have the concerns of injury. He's been injured the last 2 years. At the stretch of the end of the season, and actually at his first year, he missed 1 game earlier in the year, and he missed 3 games late in the year. And then last year, he missed 4 games late in the year. He came back and played. He got injured again, and yes, he did play in the final 2 games, but he was obviously injured and didn't produce anywhere near where he should have, or that we expected him to.
I understand, like Lee's had players get hurt, but bro, this dude's been injured his whole career. Every year of his career, not one did he miss. Not one.
Did I not bring up the Devontae Parker argument? Did I not bring up the Devontae Parker argument?
Not, and then last year he had the most carries ever in his career. Like people say, "Oh, he's fresh because he didn't play back then." Like, bro, there's a reason why he didn't play back then. It's not because they didn't use him. He couldn't get on the field
because he was a complimentary piece in San Francisco.
But if he was a stud and stayed healthy, he could have took the job. After the game, he rushed for 200 yards in the playoffs. That was his job to lose. He couldn't stay healthy. That's why San Francisco didn't mind getting rid of him.
I agree. Not only that, but again, it's on top of that. And you're fine, Cap for Life, man. Get your ass back up here. Take care of it. We got to buy you know what, Cap for Life? I'm going to buy you a fucking new phone. I'm fucking tired of that bullshit. But yeah, man, Irvin in the building. Get your ass up here, Irvin. The link's in the chat. If you don't have it, I'll send it over to you, Irvin, if it's still not available. But I agree with you, Ennis. It's the thing of not only was he not good enough to take over the spot, but obviously whether he was healthy or not, even the times he was healthy, he was still a complimentary piece for the 49ers. Why? Because they were able to see what he could give you in the short term, but they weren't willing to overinvest for him in what he offered you down the road. And as we said, that's where I get frustrated with a lot of Dolphins fans is they seem not to be able to understand that they're so short-sighted. They're, oh, well, we're going to win now. Oh, we're going to do this now. Oh, we're going to this, that, and the other. But no, it comes down to what are you – not only do you have to find a physical back to help you in the short yardage situations, but it's also somebody who can be a complement to A-Chain speed and power that is going to lead you in the future. You don't want to keep signing these guys, whether it's even if it's low money, which I understand the cap situation, so I understand the signing. Do I love it? No. Am I okay with it? Yeah. But if we can draft somebody, it's just like we talked about, Ennis. I would love to draft the edge guy that we could fucking come out and if we can move off of Bradley Chubb next year by drafting a guy this year, you know what I mean? It's the same concept with the running back position. You draft somebody this year. If you develop him, you get him in a place where you can tandem him and A-Chain, and you still have a guy, a la, like you said, Mostert, to be a rotational or situational piece. That's fine, but I'm not going to depend on Mostert to be our fucking RB1 for 17, if not 20 games of a season, because his history tells you he's not going to do it. And people get so conflated with the touchdowns. Like I said, Ennis, earlier, you got the touchdowns. That's why they want to fucking, oh, Mostert's so fucking great. Yeah, well, imagine if you had a physical guy and you don't think that he could have produced the same way Mostert did? Absolutely he would have. The thing is we didn't bring anybody else like that. So how would you ever know? Right?
Didn't y'all just give Mostert another year?
We gave him 2 years. We extended him 2 years, $9 million. So again, we haven't gotten the details of the contract, but just out of number situation, 4.5 a year. Granted, I'm sure that they gave him a low base salary this year with a high signing bonus that they could stretch out over both years, which is, again, kicking the money can down the road. But irregardless, you still need someone to complement A-Chain for the future because he's going to be 32 next month. You can't keep on and like Ennis and I said, and I've been saying that, fuck Amicus, you've been on Big Phillies with me, and even on our previous channel before YouTube shut us down, hashtag fuck YouTube. But I've been saying you have to draft for the future with the running backs. I want a guy with low mileage, high talent, who can come in and do well. Well, if you're never going to draft a running back, you're never going to get the running back. So the whole point is you draft young guys at skill positions and you supplement through free agency with veterans. And at times it seems as if Chris Greer gets to the point where he's so worried about drafting superstars that he almost doesn't want to draft solid guys to allow him then to supplement through free agency because he's so worried about hitting the home run that he's not worried about hitting a single or a double in the first 2 rounds. And that leads him sometimes to overreach for players in the first or second round, hoping that they're going to become superstars, but many of them turn out to be busts unless, with the caveat, oh, you draft the guy at 6, you draft the guy at 5, you draft the guy at 12, you draft the guy at 18. Well, I would hope in the first 20 fucking picks of the draft that you're able to find a guy. But we also know, again, like Kat brought up, is Charles Harris a fucking a Greer guy that he picked? Well, that didn't pan out. Noah didn't pan out. It's I don't know. It's a cluster fuck at times.
But Amicus is here. Like you can do that to any GM. Like there's no GM that hits in every draft in the middle round. Some guys hit. You find a poke in the core every blue moon, but you can do that with any GM. I'm just gonna say this. Like before CMC got to for 49ers, everybody was like, yeah, we can do it like the 49ers. They just put any back there and rotate them. And then what did John Lynch do? He got tired of that shit because that shit wasn't working. He went and got CMC. If you find the right guy, this offense can be unstoppable. Raheem is not the right guy. It's not chemistry. Like it's right in our face. Like we're one step away. Like Amicus will tell you, like James Cook changed that offense. They had Devil Singletary there, Harris. It was cool, but James Cook is a different animal in that offense. That shit took their shit to another level. When I started seeing that, I was like, man, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know because I heard Amicus bitching about James Cook, saying James Cook sucks.
You never fucking heard me say nothing about James Cook. Stop.
You absolutely did. Stop it. I will go back on the
See, here's the
clip.
problem, man. You get me fucking mixed up with them other bozos and fucking. I've never, ever said anything about James Cook except that he's a badass. What I did say.
Because I don't know you well, but I can tell you that he was lying.
Yeah. What I did say, though.
No, that's bullshit. And
Well,
whether
hold on, CT. What I did say is that what I said is that we don't utilize James Cook the right way. Now, I keep it real. James Cook dropped 2 touchdown passes last year, and one of them cost us a game. But that doesn't. I mean, he's still a badass, and you can spread him out. He's shifty. I mean, James Cook. With James Cook and Kincaid, man, I mean, it spreads there's so many options. So what Ennis is saying is right. We didn't have that with Singletary. Granted, he did go to Texans and ball, right? But that's that system. Everything, all the ingredients have to be right to make a fucking team. This is what I tell y'all about the Chiefs. Mahomes is Mahomes, but Mahomes is Mahomes because of the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I agree, but I got fucking witnesses because Irvin in the building, Spidey in the building, Webhead in the